So why would you be doing this of all interviews? I mean, you could do an interview with anyone. You're doing an interview with me. Obviously, you're going to take abuse for doing that. Like, why would you do that?
Because I think it's silly not to talk to people. I think whether we agree or not,
right?
That has nothing to do with it. You know, it's like, this is what it's all about. Let's talk about it. Let's debate. And you know, I've been shut out.
Wait, that sounds like right-wing extremism and whataboutism.
But I've been shut out. You know, some platforms will not have me on.
Why?
That's crazy.
They don't like that I'm, you know, an independent thinker. I'm not part of the herd. I'm not part of the go along to get along gang. You know, I tried to go on The View. They didn't have me on The View.
Why?
Well, a few of the guests just really didn't like where I was coming from. So
that is just crazy. And it goes to show the woke mob and what they would do just because you have different opinions. They will cancel you and they won't want you on their shows. They're the same group that says they accept everyone. They love you no matter what. But then when you have different opinions to them, they don't really tend to accept you then. And it's funny that this is the case that he's been blacklisted from a lot of places, and one of them being The View, which is very sad. Regardless of your skin color, if you don't agree with them, and if you don't agree with the woke mob, they will cancel you.
Or a few of the hosts, I mean. So that's what I was told by the producers. I've been on there before.
Yeah.
You know, it's just when I've became an independent thinker, when I've, you know, I'm not, you know, I don't follow their brand of politics, I guess.
But if you can't think for yourself, then you're not really free, are you?
Exactly the point. They want you to think a certain way. It's not about you being black. It's not about you being white. They just want you to think a certain way. And if you don't think that certain way that they want you to, they will take any means necessary to get you to bow to the woke mob. And that's what we're seeing nowadays.
No, you're not. You're not. But I've been excluded. I've been excluded on Oprah, you know.
On Oprah?
On Oprah, yeah, I've been excluded. Yeah, man.
I would think you'd be the person Oprah would want to promote. I mean, you grew up in South Central, you were successful at a young age, you have dignity, you say what you think. Like, I thought that was the goal.
Me too. You know, I don't know what it is.
So I remember reading you say something along the lines of, I didn't vote for Trump, I'm not a Trump voter. You actually attacked Trump at one point, but you were willing to meet with Trump. Do you think that crossed a line?
I think some people didn't like that, but I think it's idiotic. You know, enemies meet.
Right.
You know, they talk. I'm pretty sure there's some communication between Russia and the Ukraine right now. Somebody's on the phone talking to somebody. I know when the talking stops, the fighting starts. You know, a lot of people, they, you know, think I'm a, you know, Republican. I'm a right-winger. Just because I was willing to speak to the Trump administration, I mean, and I was willing to speak with the Biden administration as well, you know.
Have you?
One guy in the administration, but it didn't go anywhere. You know, it was basically a, you know, take my temperature kind of call.
What do you think of Biden?
I don't think he's given the people who put him in exactly what they thought they were going to get from him.
But his most loyal voters, according to the polls anyway, are black voters, particularly black women. Mm-hmm. And those numbers don't seem to change. So no matter what happens or doesn't happen.
And the fact that the numbers don't change goes to show you another thing, that regardless of whether the truth is put out there, people tend to not change their opinions on things. It only takes certain situations in life, or really harsh situations in life, that tend to change people's opinions, or when they have something miraculous happening in their life, that's when they change their opinions. Regardless of whether the truth is told to them or not, they will stick to their opinions and they will keep believing what they believe in. And he's proven that. They don't even allow him to talk to Trump about the situation. They don't even want him to talk to Trump. Not saying that he agrees with him, just speaking with him is a problem for the woke mob.
So, do you expect they ever will change?
You know, whether they become independents and not vote for anybody who's not bringing it. You know, it's like people want your vote. They have to do something to earn it. If they don't earn it, why are you going down there and pulling that lever?
What's your view of the police at this point?
It's the same. You know, it really is. You know, it's a fraternity. It's an organization that does things a certain way, and I think their philosophy sometimes is detrimental to the people they're serving, because I think cops have a win and make it home philosophy. You can't really fault somebody for thinking that way as a police officer, but that's the philosophy, so everything else comes second to that. That's what we see is an organization hell-bent on winning, and not a fraternity or organization hell-bent on upholding the law and doing everything right or by the book, so to speak.
And regarding the police, I've seen many videos where there are constitutionalists who go out and just record in public places. And I've seen the police, whether they're black or white, the police have done some crazy things. So, and I've never had an encounter with the police. So no. It's not that I hate the police. I don't have an opinion, good or bad, of them. But from what I've seen them do some very, very crazy and questionable things, whether they even know if the law is correct or not. Just because of the fact of their feelings come into play, they do some questionable things. So I can understand where he's coming from. And as I said, I'm saying it again, I do not hate the police or anything like that, but I have my reservations about them. So I can see where he is coming from. And trust me, it's not to do with Black Lives Matter, or I'm not a Black Lives Matter activist. As you guys know from my channel, I'm not that type of person. It's just from my own personal experience in terms of watching them. As I've said, I've never encountered them in my personal life. But watching them, they do some questionable things. So I can see where he's coming from.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you think that it's harder to be a man in America now than it was when you were a kid?
Yes. Saying what you feel, being yourself.
You can't say what you feel anymore, which is sad.
Is what they call toxic.
We've been talking almost all day now. You haven't mentioned race a single time. We've mentioned economics, rich and poor, a number of times. Do you think that we overplay the role of racial conflict in American life?
Yes.
100%.
I think race, it takes up too much space. There's people that we all have in our lives who are same race that we can't stand. And there's people in our lives from other races that we get along with way better. So it's not about race. It's not about color and gender and this and that. It's about who do you connect with. So I think a lot of people make a lot of money off of the racists fighting against each other and bickering. And they the ones who push it in our face all the time that we're separate.
Are you mad about it? Are you mad at people for their skin color ever in the course of a day?
I'm not mad at people because of their skin color. You know, I'm mad at people because of what they do and the things they choose not to do.
Right. I've noticed something weird. I've never been a big hip hop fan, but I've met a bunch of hip hop performers.
Yeah.
And they're all pretty open-minded, way more open-minded than, say, your average college professor. I wouldn't have expected that. Why do you think that is?
You know, college professors, they all want their jobs. And if their staff or administration is saying, hey, we think this way at this college, sometimes they understand what that is and they stick to those guidelines. Rappers, you know, we're free spirits. We know doing things the way they were done in the past hasn't really gotten us as far along as a people as we have wanted. So we tend to break the mold. we tend to be disruptors. If I would have stayed in my lane, I wouldn't be here. I would still be in South Central Los Angeles, you know, not following my dreams.
This was definitely a very interesting interview. There's a longer version that I'll link down below so people can go watch both the longer version and the shorter version, which I just watched now. But it's a very interesting video, and it just goes to show you a bigger picture of what's going on in today's society. There's a lot of things that they want to divide us on and they want us to be fighting over, which is very interesting. It's highlighted in this video. But anyway, that was another video, another reaction. As I usually say, if you enjoyed the video, like the video as much as possible. Comment down below. Let's get a discussion going down below. I'll reply to as many comments as possible. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at YinkaThatGuy. And I am out.